Hello, my name's Stuart Blythe and I'm an associate with the Graham and Sybil Business Rates team here in Edinburgh. With the 2026 revaluation just around the corner, we thought it may be beneficial to provide a video in which we discuss business rates, revaluation, how to go about challenging a rateable value, and to explain what we here at Graham and Sybil can do to help in terms of guidance and assistance. Business rates are a tax on commercial or non-domestic properties across Scotland. This includes shops, offices, industrials, schools, hospitals, land, essentially anything that is not agricultural, which are exempt, or domestic, which is shown on the council tax list and is liable for council tax. The amount of business rates payable is determined by multiplying the rateable value of the property by the prevailing poundage rate. For example, a shop with a rateable value of £25,000, whilst the poundage rate is set at £0.498, will have a liability of £12,450 per annum before any relief is considered. The rateable value of a property is calculated by the local assessor, and it is an estimate of the open market rental value of that property at a fixed point in time. All rateable values are shown on the valuation roll, which is a publicly available document. The poundage rate is set by the Scottish Government and is considered annually as part of their annual budget. Each local authority takes a property's rateable value and multiplies this by the prevailing poundage rate at that time to arrive at business rates liabilities for that particular property. There are a number of different relief schemes in place across Scotland. Some are mandatory, some are discretionary, some are applied automatically, some are applied via application only. Some are underpinned by central government policies, whilst others are underpinned by local government policies. Navigating the various relief schemes and understanding what ratepayers may be entitled to is very difficult under the current system due to the number of schemes available and the differing approach from the various local authorities. The Business Rates team here at Graham and Sybil can help with guidance and advice on relief schemes, and we can prepare and lodge applications for relief on behalf of ratepayers. If any ratepayer would like to discuss business rates relief, please do not hesitate to contact us here at Graham and Sybil, and we would be happy to help. Under the current system, rateable values are reset every 3 years via a revaluation. The current valuation roll is the 2023 valuation roll, which holds rateable values based on open market evidence from around April 2022. Following the revaluation, the 2026 valuation roll will come into force on the 1st of April 2026, and the rateable values on this valuation roll will be based on market evidence from around April 2025. Revaluations are used to reset rateable values and reflect changes in the various markets across the country. Some properties in buoyant markets will see their rateable values increase, whilst other properties in falling markets will likely see their rateable values decrease following a revaluation. It should be noted that revaluations are supposed to be income neutral as far as the Scottish Government is concerned. That means that following a revaluation, the amount of money collected via business rates should not increase or decrease in real terms. If the total rateable value across Scotland increases, then the poundage rate should fall, and vice versa, to ensure that the amount of money collected is neutral in real terms. In the past, revaluations were held every 5, 6, or even 7 years, which led to big jumps in rateable values at each revaluation. With revaluations now at 3 yearly, those jumps should be smoothed out and rateable values should be more closely aligned with the market. Assessors have statutory powers that enable them to request all rental and cost evidence, as well as names and address details from anybody with an interest in a property across Scotland. Assessors gather this information, analyse it, and extract the relevant details, which they then use to form opinions on open market rental values across the country. These opinions underpin rateable values at revaluation. The assessor's main method for gathering this information is via Assessor's Information Notices, or AINs. These are usually issued in the post, and recipients are given 28 days from the date of issue to respond with the requested information. Failure to respond in time will result in the issuing of civil penalties, and these can roll over to be significant amounts of money. Therefore, we strongly advise that anybody who is in receipt of an AIN respond as soon as possible with the requested information. Alternatively, if they are struggling to complete the AIN, they should contact the assessor's office who issued the AIN and explain the situation to them as quickly as possible. On the 30th of November 2025, assessors will publish draft 2026 valuation rule and issue draft valuation notices to all parties with an interest in non-domestic properties across Scotland. This is not a bill, and liabilities cannot be estimated until the poundage rate is set following the Scottish Budget in January, but they will provide a reliable estimate of the rateable value that will be in place on the 1st of April 2026. On the 1st of April 2026, the 2026 valuation rule will become live and come into force. Notices will be issued at that time, with business rates bills to follow shortly after. Yes, rateable values can be challenged, but it may not always be in the ratepayer's interest for a formal challenge to be made. Following the coming into force of the 2026 valuation rule, proprietors, tenants and occupiers will have 4 months in which to lodge a formal challenge against the rateable value shown on the roll. This deadline will therefore be the 31st of July 2026, and this deadline is strictly enforced, with late applications not accepted. The first stage in any challenge is known as a proposal. One area of concern is around updated legislation that relates to undervalued properties. If a proprietor, tenant or occupier lodges a proposal and the rateable value is then found to be too low, the assessor will use that proposal as a mechanism to increase the rateable value accordingly. Therefore, it is crucial that ratepayers investigate their rateable value ahead of lodging any formal proposal, because to do so may not always be in the ratepayer's interests. Graham and Sybil can carry out an initial investigation to determine if it is in the ratepayer's best interest to lodge a formal proposal. This would include analysis of the physical circumstances of the subject property and consideration of all the available market evidence. If we recommend that a formal proposal should be lodged, we can prepare and lodge detailed submissions and carry out all subsequent negotiations and discussions with the assessor's office until the proposal is concluded. The system for challenging rateable values changed at the 2023 revaluation, and proposal submissions are now required by law to be very detailed and comprehensive. Essentially, one must outline their entire case at the submission stage, and these submissions must include detailed grounds on which the proposal is made, detailed valuation evidence, explanations on the opinion of value, and a detailed valuation statement outlining an alternative rateable value and an explanation on how that rateable value has been arrived at. So as you can appreciate, submissions can be lengthy and time-consuming. And if a proposal does not include all the required information, the assessor will deem it to be invalid. Once proposals are submitted and validated as having met the requirement criteria, the next stage is for it to be considered by the local assessor. In some cases, the assessor will agree with the proposal and amend the rateable value accordingly. In other cases, there will be a period of negotiation and discussions between the assessor and the rating team here at Graham and Sybil to arrive at an agreeable rateable value that both sides are happy with. In some cases, the assessor will not make any offer that is agreeable to ourselves or to the ratepayer, and in those cases, we will write up a recommendation on whether or not the assessor's decision should be appealed to the First Tier Tribunal for Scotland. Interested parties should look out for draft 2026 valuation notices, which will be published on the 30th of November 2025. These will give a reliable indicator of the 2026 rateable value, although they are subject to potential change before the 1st of April 2026. With the period for lodging proposals being very short, coupled with the risk involved in lodging proposals where the rateable value is found to be too low, we recommend that ratepayers seek professional advice from an RICS rating surveyor as soon as possible if they wish to challenge their 2026 rateable values. Graham and Sybil's rating team boasts a number of RICS rating surveyors who, alongside our experienced administrative colleagues, have the skills, the knowledge, and the understanding to be able to provide detailed and reasoned advice, as well as recommendations and assistance in relation to all matters related to business rates in Scotland, as well as the rest of the UK. We will be turning our attention to the 2026 revaluation as soon as the draft rule is published on the 30th of November, and we recommend ratepayers do the same and act quickly to avoid being time barred. Thank you for your time, and please don't hesitate to contact a member of our rating team here at Graham Sybil if you have any questions or queries. Thank you.